Well, let me be the first to officially congratulate you on completing this massive project. I say tongue in cheek for such a small book, but it's important, isn't it? We saw something through, we did it together, and I think that the principles in this book, when applied, are going to be hugely important for the life and the culture of our church. I want to extract several of the principles that we saw here because even though the tone was a little bit more geared, at least initially in chapter 10, towards finding your official leaders in the church and then those leaders continuing to replenish that leadership with new disciples, I think it's important for us to keep this at a broader, across the whole church board perspective between our men, our women, our small group, our children's ministries, all of those things. So let me just extract four principles that rose to the top for me. The first is that we are to adopt a posture of actually actively looking for disciples. Rather than having this kind of set it on cruise control or hit the snooze button, a disciple will fall in my lap when the Lord wants me to do something about it, I like the impetus involved in actually looking for your next disciple. And if we're on the lookout for that, keeping in mind the other principles we've talked about in previous chapters about not overextending ourselves, not creating environments where our schedules don't align and those kinds of things, and even some of the personality things of which we like about each other, still keeping those principles in mind, it's best for us to be on the lookout. Lord, who's next? What do you have for me next? And I think that will go a long way. I also like the caution that we are to be advancing trust. When we are discipling other people, they're never as ready as we think they should be. But the reality is you and I weren't either when we got started. And so you'll see this playing out in the life of the church, particularly at our leadership level and with some of the other roles and functions of the church, that we actually like to kind of push people out of the nest, even if they don't feel ready for it. It's time to get going. It's time to move down a path because the same Holy Spirit that lives in me also lives in you. And the Lord's got this, and He's going to guide and lead you in the process. And so advancing trust is a huge part of this discipleship process, rather than hanging on to them all like they're the little chicks that need to stay in the nest. Also, I like that we are encouraged to cultivate mutual respect. And I think in the particular day and age that we're studying this book together and recording these videos, there can't be a bigger warning for us as Christians. If God's people can't show one another respect because that person was made in the image of God, then we're already losing the battle. So one of the key ingredients in good discipleship and building a culture in the church is one of mutual respect. Everybody has something else in them, in their makeup, in their skill set, in their personality, or something that we can respect. They have an ability or something that we don't have. And though you may be leading them a step ahead as their discipler, you can still find things in them that are to be respected, and they will in turn respect you as well. And so I thought that was incredibly helpful. And the last thing that I want to highlight here is this warning to foster humility. I believe that if we develop a discipleship culture in our church that is built as the scriptures say, that we are making one another's interests and needs more important than our own, then we will be cultivating this atmosphere of humility, and that will take off like wildfire. It will be in concert with what Jesus says, that by our love for one another will all men know that we are God's disciples. And so this idea of fostering humility can't be more important, or couldn't be more important than it is right now. And so I hope you remember those things, but even more than that, I hope you remain available to the voice of the Lord in your life. I trust that many of you that are going through this book and through this video series are already discipling in some way, shape, or form. So I hope that you've been challenged in a new and fresh way. But those of you that haven't stepped out and do this, just know that you can do this. Just know that the Lord designed you and wired you to be able to pull this off. This is His whole plan from the beginning. This is how the church advances, and this is how you and I find fulfillment in our Christian walk. So again, congratulations on completing the book. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. And by design, we do not have a lot of next steps for what we're going to do with this. My desire is to just see how this permeates the culture of the church and how it starts to infuse us with the ability to lead others in a deeper relationship with Christ. And there isn't necessarily a program that's needed for that. So God bless you as you step out in faith, and may the Lord do some incredible things in the life of our church as a result of it.